I hate intros. Log Horizon Season 1, Episode 1. We kick things off with the introduction of the main character, Shiro, who finds himself transported inside of a game called Elder Tale. He had taken on his in-game character, which is a level 90 half-elf enchanter. There are numerous other players in the city of Akihabara who are all stuck like he is. Just like in the game, there's a status screen where he finds all of his items as well as a disabled logout button. Shiro gets the idea to check his friends list to see who else is online. There are a couple of different people online, so he goes to meet with the first of God knows how many side characters, Natsugu, a level 90 human guardian and pervert. The two discuss that the new expansion called Novosphere Pioneers was released. Shiro remembers everything up until the second that the update was released and then woke up inside the game. They head off to see what they can find out, which is when they come across waifu candidate number 1 in Akatsuki. Downside for her is that her avatar is a man. Shiro gives her a discontinued potion that allows her to change her gender to a girl, taking on her final waifu form as a level 90 human assassin. We learn that NPCs refer to themselves as people of the land, while players are known as adventurers. Everybody is starving, but unfortunately none of the food or drinks taste like they should and are all extremely bland. While eating, Shiro gets a call from another friend, so they go to meet with her. Now we get waifu number 2 in Marielle, who is a level 90 elf cleric and the guildmaster of the Crescent Moon Alliance. The waifu parade continues with Henrietta, a level 90 bard also in the Crescent Moon Guild. While talking, they learn that the inner city transport gates are offline, preventing their normal means of travel. They also inform them that all of the other guilds have launched recruitment campaigns in preparation for any trials that come their way. Even though they are familiar with the game because there was an expansion just released, the monsters, items, and quests could be all different. Marielle points out that the Debauchery Tea Party, which is Shiro's old group that he hung out with, isn't around anymore. She recognizes that he isn't a huge fan of guilds, but she invites him to join Crescent Moon anyways. He says nope and they leave. Apparently the Debauchery Tea Party was a well-known unofficial guild that won some lucrative battles, with Shiro acting as their strategist. After their little meeting, they head into the Archive Tower Forest to experiment with the combat system on lower level monsters. A group of level 28 Briar Weasels show up and attack him. There are some initial difficulties with the system, but since they're level 90, they kill him anyways. We learn that there are 30,000 Japanese adventurers as well as several hundred thousand around the world that got stuck in the game. The day that they were all transported into the game became known as the Apocalypse. Episode 2. Some dumbass dies in combat, but this confirms to the rest of the players that it's just like in the game, and if you die, you revive at a cathedral. After they're done training, everybody meets with the Crescent Moon again. At this point, most of the local guilds have finished their recruiting, so now everybody is just trying to figure out who the strongest one is. It appears that some of the bigger guilds are starting to assert their dominance on the smaller ones. There isn't any fighting allowed in the cities, or NPCs called the Royal Guards appear and kill you, although they did find workarounds to harass the smaller guilds without triggering the Royal Guards. There's also been a spike of player kills just outside of the city. Newer players are being targeted as they leave the city because they drop loot when they're defeated. This segues nicely into them going out for training and running into PKers who try to rob them. Although they're outnumbered, thanks to Shiro calling the shots, they quickly dismantle them. Once back at Crescent Moon, they learned that one of the Crescent Moon members had run into some trouble in the city of Susukino and was rescued by an unknown character. Marielle is planning on sending their best members to retrieve the girl and bring her back to safety. Shiro quickly realizes that they won't be capable enough. He also knows that since this world is set to half scale based on the real world, it'll take them too long to get there on horseback. After some contemplation, Shiro and the others offer to go there and bring her back for them. Once outside the city, Shiro and Natsugu summon griffins to get them there faster. Akatsuki is surprised because the whistles that summon them are rare items that were only given to players that completed a special mission. Episode 3. On their way to Susukino, they arrive at a dungeon called the Depths of Palm, which they have to go through because the griffins have a limit. Anyways, we get our first look at the level 19 Sarara, who is the girl that they're going to rescue. We also meet the one responsible for saving her from the thugs in the cat bro named Nyanta. They talk about how the guild Brigandia are a bunch of dickheads and terrorizing everybody in Susukino. Over to the others, whose path collapses and Shiro falls into some water. He loses consciousness, which procs a flashback to how he was an engineer engineering student in college. Even though he was kind of a loner, when he started playing Elder Tale, he became a well-known veteran. After a while, a lot of people started wanting his help with quests, and that got to be a little old. This is when he met Natsugu and the other Debauchery Tea Party members who got him back into playing. Good news for everybody, VPN's off, because Akatsuki is also around 20, so you guys are safe. Everybody gets confronted by a new monster, a part of the Nova Sphere expansion. It's only level 68 though, so they make quick work of it and make it out of the dungeon. Hop on over to the Brigandia Guild, who are a group of PKers outside of Susukino led by the brute named Demikos. He and his men are pretty ruthless, and we learn that they are also looking for Sarara and Nyanta. Episode 4. When they arrive at Susukino, Shiro goes ahead of the others and meets with Sarara. Turns out him and Nyanta know each other, so he decides to go with them back to Akihabara. Since there's no combat in the cities, Demikos and his men wait for them to leave and then cut them off. Shiro antagonizes Demikos as well as his right-hand man in Londark, provoking them to fight one-on-one. This leads to a duel between Demikos and Nyanta. Nyanta is wearing him down with debuffs, and it isn't looking good for Demikos, so he orders his men to step in and heal him. This cues Natsugu to make his appearance, taunting all of the fighters to him. His taunt allows Shiro to use his Thornbind hostage ability, rooting Demikos. When a teammate cuts one of the roots binding him, it deals bonus damage. Nyanta combos with him to cut all of the vines, just before Shiro recasts the vines a second time. The coordination between the two shines as Nyanta instantly kills the second set of vines also. This deals massive damage to Demikos, leaving him at just 1 health. Akatsuki had also taken care of Londark and his team of healers, putting an end to the fight. Demikos launches one more attack, but Sarara jumps in to kill him, sending him back to the fountain. After that, everybody starts heading back to Akihabara. Episode 5. While camping out, they learn that Nyanta can cook meat that actually has flavor. He explains that the secret is not using the interface to create the food, but cooking it by hand instead. Obviously, they had tried this, but the reason they failed when they tried is because they don't have the chef profession. We learn that Nyanta was also a part of the Debauchery Tea Party, which explains why their coordination was so clean when he fought with Shiro. We see the small ginger is a bit of a furry, so she wants to bang the Capro, while Akatsuki is going for big air in search of that protagonist dick. But anyways, later on, they talk about how Shiro helped out some kids that were siblings. He had seen that the two of them got stuck in the game also, so he figures he should probably check on them to make sure they're okay. While heading back, they get caught up in a storm, so they request one of the people of the land to give them a place to stay. While talking to the man, they realize he has a whole backstory and feelings, which makes them appreciate the people of the land a bit more. Now we hop on over to Minori and Toya, who are the kids that Shiro was talking about. They had joined a lower level guild, but their leader is treating them like shit. Episode 6. Once they get back, everybody at Crescent Moon has a party to celebrate Sarara's return. After the party, Marielle and Shiro discuss how the bigger guilds are oppressive and hogging all of the good hunting spots. While Shiro and the others were gone, the smaller guilds had a conference to discuss banding together against the bigger guilds, but it didn't go so well because everybody was wanting different things. We also learned that the level cap has been raised from 90 to 100 in this expansion, so some of the guilds are focused on leveling. Some of these guilds are competing with one another to see who can level up faster, and even using EXP potions. Normally, only players under level 30 can get these potions, but a group called Hamlin took in these new players saying that they wanted to help. In reality, they were just wanting to take and sell their EXP potions to the other guilds. After this conversation, while walking, we learned that Shiro didn't like joining guilds because all they wanted to do was take advantage of his veteran status. Now he's kind of rethinking all of this and wonders if there is a guild out there for him. After a quick chat with Nyanta, he decides that he should get in touch with Minori. He learns that her and Toya were recruited by Hamlin, but now they're kind of enslaved there, so he promises to get them out. Shiro requests Crescent Moon aid them to get Hamlin out of Akihabara for good. Not only that, but he doesn't like the state of Akihabara, so he promises that he's gonna clean the city up. To get his plan underway, he would need 5 million gold, but even with the Crescent Moon selling all of their things, they would only have around 60,000. In the last couple of scenes, he also tells him that he is officially starting his own guild, and it's gonna be called Log Horizon. Episode 7. Henrietta is an accountant, so she has an idea on how to get Shiro his 5 million gold. This plan entails having all of the members gathering ingredients from nearby hunting grounds. After that, they open a stall that sells food with actual flavor. Because they're the only ones who had figured out how to make the food taste good again, it's a huge hit, and the news spreads throughout the city. After their first day, they had already earned 43,776 gold, but that means it'll still take another 4 months to get the 5 million gold that Shiro is looking for. Later that night, Shiro and Nyanta go to meet with their old friend Sojiro Theta, who was a part of the tea party also. Now he's the guild leader of the Caravan of the West Wind. Even though their guild is on the smaller side, they are still one of the more powerful guilds. Sojiro acknowledges that circumstances in Akihabara are less than ideal, so he agrees to help in their plan. Episode 8. Marielle and Henrietta meet with yet another new face in Karashin. He is the leader of the third biggest merchant guild called Shopping Street 8. They settle on a deal creating a bigger supply chain to help support the Crescent Moon burger business. We then get a flashback of when Minori and Toya were first brought into the world. They were quickly ambushed and robbed of all of their valuables, so they needed somebody to get them back on their feet. That's the reason they joined Hamlin, but now they're just slaves. Back to Marielle and Henrietta, who also meet with Michitaka and Roderick. These are the leaders of the other top 2 merchant guilds ahead of Shopping Street 8, and also potential investors. While talking, Shiro gets brought up, who apparently has earned the title of Villain in Glasses, further piquing the investors' interest. They make it known that they're looking for 5 million gold to make the deal happen. It isn't made clear to the investors where the 5 million gold will be going though, although they do promise that once the operation they are funding comes to its conclusion, they will come out with all of the details. The merchants figure that they're probably funding a massive quest as a part of the new expansion, so the payout from this quest could be huge. As a bonus, she also offers to give up all their secrets, cookbooks, and recipes that their chefs had come up with that gives the food its flavor. This is more than enough, and all of them are eager to cough up their portion of the dough. In the last couple of scenes, we see that some of the major guilds have been invited to a conference being held by Shiro and Marielle. Episode 9. Starting with the warrior guilds, we have DDD with 1,543 members. Next is the Black Sword Knights with 186 members. Honesty, 743 members. And the Brigade of the West Wind having 64 members. There are also the crafting guilds whose time is spent amassing items or selling them in town. This includes Marine Agency with 2,547 members. Roderick Merchant Guild with 1,881 members. Shopping Street 8 with 669 members. I see what they did there. Grandale with 31 members, and Radio Market with 21 members. Then we have the Support Guild in Crescent Moon Alliance with 24 members, and of course we all know the newest guild in Log Horizon having 4 members. These guilds were selected to be the voice of each respective guild type, with the strongest warrior and crafting guilds. On the other hand, Crescent Moon, Grandale, and Radio Market are there to be the voice of the smaller guilds. Shiro makes it clear that the meeting is being held to improve living conditions in Akihabara. The Silver Swords leader isn't having any of that shit since he thinks it's a waste of time that won't go anywhere. Shiro brings up Susukino's living conditions, with the biggest guild harassing everybody around them. He suggests implementing some laws to avoid this happening in Akihabara. Breaking these laws would result in banishment from the city, or being forced to disband their guild. Everybody's quick to point out that Log Horizon doesn't have the power to keep the bigger guilds in line though. If a major guild said fuck the system, it could threaten an all-out war. This prompts Shiro to unveil his ace in the hole. He tells everybody that as of this moment, he is now the sole owner and administrator of the guild building zone, using his 5 million gold to purchase it. Now, normally you wouldn't be able to do this, but Shiro had noticed that since the apocalypse, previously unavailable property purchases had become available. Because he's the administrator, if he puts anybody's name on a blacklist, they will be unable to get into anything in the guild hall. There's also the fun fact that creating, leaving, and joining guilds are all done through the guild hall. Not only that, but the bank is also inside the guild hall, which is the only truly safe place to keep all of your loot. Sure, they could switch towns, but with the transport gates offline, travel to other cities is almost impossible. Now we hop on over to Hamlin's guild hall, where Minori and Toya follow Shiro's orders to try and escape. The Hamlin guild has combat turned on in their guild hall, resulting in a fight. Despite this, they still find an opening and manage to get inside the main guild building. All of the other members that were oppressing them are either blacklisted or handled by Akatsuki and Natsugu. And in the last couple of scenes, we see that the guilds finally come around to the idea and start working together, forming the new Round Table Alliance. Episode 10. Keeping true to their word, Shiro tells everybody the secret to cooking food with flavor. Don't use the command menu, prepare the ingredients like you would in real life, and be a chef. Once they start thinking about it though, these conditions can apply to other things as well. With this in mind, Shopping District 8 was able to make a steam engine which was never available in the Elder Tale game. This is an interesting revelation because it means that players with high enough profession skill levels just need the proper materials and they can invent things that weren't originally a part of this world. The realization marks the start of a technological revolution. New products means new buyers, and this will spur on the economy as well as give people goals to work towards. The next topic is public safety. Everybody agrees that there should be combat areas to encourage competition. On the other hand, Shiro wants to implement laws against PKing in lower level zones outside of the city. People are also given the rights to join and leave guilds as they please, to avoid another Hamlin type guild. Now the group comes across its first controversy when Shiro suggests that the people of the land need to be treated better as well. He goes on to explain that they aren't just NPCs anymore. If you talk to them, they're basically real people. While adventurers need them working in the guild buildings and markets, the people of the land don't necessarily need the adventurers. There's also way more people of the land, so if they don't change how they're governed, there could be backlash from them or even war. After the conference was finished, the news of the newly formed laws are spread to everybody in Akihabara. We also learned that the Hamlin members had all fled from the city. All of the noobs that were being taken advantage of in the guild end up joining Crescent Moon. Now we get a look at Log Horizon, who had renovated an old building to be their new home. To no one's surprise, Toya and Minori end up joining Log Horizon. In the last couple of scenes, we see that people of the land answering to Lord Sergiat seem to be keeping tabs on the round table and Shiro. We also get a look at his hot granddaughter in Lady Lanesia. Episode 11. Everyone sets up a training camp for noobs under level 40. Before that can happen though, Akihabara gets visited by a messenger from Lord Sergiat. He's apparently a High Lord of Eastal's League of Freedom Cities. In Elder Tales, Japan is called Yamato and is divided into 5 major territories. The League of Freedom Cities of Eastal is an alliance of lords that rule over eastern Japan. These lords have invited the Round Table to attend their next gathering of allied nobles. While Shiro thinks it's a good idea to start networking with the people of the land, it could also result in the Round Table getting caught up in their politics. They decide that DDD's leader, Krusty, will represent the warrior guilds at the gathering. Michitaka will represent the merchants, and Shiro is just going because he's the only one with a brain. Their main goal is to learn how much the NPCs have changed since the apocalypse. Meanwhile, the training camp is going on at the same time, but it's all filler content except for the new character in Rundle House Code. The representatives arrive at the Palace of Eternal Ice. They meet with the people of the land and Sergiat, with both sides probing each other for information. Meanwhile, at the training camp, everybody's set into a dungeon. Episode 12. The people of the land had also taken in the adventurers' cooking methods, further confirming how much change they are influencing in the world. They speculate that the people of the land are seeking information on the ambitions of the adventurers as well as the political aspirations of the Round Table. Even though it seems clear that they're nervous about the change of behavior in the adventurers, it's likely after their first meeting that they've calmed down a bit. Shiro predicts that their next play is getting the adventurers to work for them. He needs to know what they're thinking though, so he sent Akatsuki to spy on them. Over to the noobs who make their first dungeon run. They don't know what they're fucking doing, so they have trash formations and tactics. When they get attacked by some skeletons, they get fucked on and have to retreat. And in the last scene, we see that Lanesia has caught the eye of Krusty. I'm gonna be doing part 2, and you can find that on the left side whenever I'm finished with it, or you can check out all the Log Horizon recaps in the playlist on the right side. You can also find the links in the description below, and the only thing I hate more than intros is outros.